Hello, this is Mitchell Ariana, and thank you so much for watching another one of my random recordings. Today, I wanted to share with you a hand cream that has worked amazingly well on curing, or I should say repairing, my daughter's chapped, red, cracked hands. I have a 6-year-old daughter and she's in 1st grade. We live in Texas and we send her to private school, so she has been in school since August and she has not had any lockdown, so to speak, or any time off from school since August. During that time, the school has been doing an amazing job with having safety precautions in terms of COVID and making sure not to spread COVID and so on. Obviously, masks are one of them, as well as consistent hand washing and hand sanitizing. Because of that, my daughter's hands became extremely red, chapped, and cracked, like literally cracked on the backs of both of her hands, and I could see blood, like cracked enough where blood was starting in each of the little cracks. Now, of course, there's no way I'm going to say she can't wash her hand, sanitize her hands. I mean, obviously, I want her to be as safe as possible while she's at school. I don't want her spreading germs either. So I needed to think about what I could do for her dry, red, cracked, and chapped hands. I did everything. I used lotion. That wasn't good enough. It wasn't doing anything. I used Vaseline, so that's my go-to. So usually I will use Vaseline to help, repair things like chapped skin, chapped lips, that type of thing. It was not doing anything. Well, I take that back. It helped relieve the pain a little bit when I would put the Vaseline on, but it was not fully repairing her red and chapped hands. And also the problem with Vaseline is it's very greasy. So I didn't want to send her to school with greasy hands. So at nighttime I would put it on her hands to give her some kind of relief, and then I would put a little tiny bit in the morning before she went to school, but it wasn't enough to repair the damage that was happening to her hands. So I was at Walmart one day and I was looking at the lotions because I was thinking, I've got to do something. There's got to be something here that I could use on her hands since Vaseline is not working. And I saw this. I saw O'Keeffe's Working Hands hand cream, and on it, it said for extremely dry, cracked hands. Well, to be exact, I actually got this one. So this is an empty. This is the first one I got, this size. It's a little bit ripped apart because our dog got a hold of it and chewed it up. So that's why it looks like that. But as you can see, this is it. We truly use this, okay? So I got this smaller size, seeing if it would work, and it did. It was amazing. So I put it on my daughter's hands at nighttime. I would put a really thick layer because I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure her hands were completely coated. So at night, I would put a really thick layer on the backs of her hands. When she got out of the shower, when her hands were nice and moist from just having been in the shower, and then I would put a nice thick layer on the back of her hands before she went to school. And so I did this for about a week, and I saw her hands were definitely healing. The cracks were going away. There was no more bleeding. The redness was subsiding. And now her hands are healed. Her hands are fine now. But I continue to put this on her hands. So we used up this entire jar, and I was using this as well. And then I went ahead and got a bigger jar because now I know after using it and that it truly does work and it repaired her hands. I want to keep this in the home. I want to keep this here in my household. And so what I do, like I said, even now I continue to put it on her hands. I make her put it on at night after her shower, and we rub it all over her hands now before she goes to school in the morning. So that way she has a protective barrier on her hands as she's using hand sanitizer and water or washing her hands throughout the day. Now, of course, she will, at some point, this will eventually wash off. Of course it does. I know that, and I don't want to make any claims that this won't wash off. It will, but at least it does form a bit of a protective barrier until that barrier starts to break down. So, but so far, since using it and since she's been in school, since her hands have been healed, I have not seen a problem with her hands yet. since I saw her hands do such an amazing job on her hands, I myself actually have started using this, and I use this every day as my hand daily lotion. And just to show you the way it looks, you don't need a lot, and it's true, you don't need a lot. At first, when I first got this, I used way more than I needed to, and I think this is why this is gone so quickly, because I was like just globbing it onto her hands because I wanted to put as much on there as I could. But you don't really need that much, and I just wanted to show you the consistency of it. When you first put it on, it does look white, like it kind of has a white, it's white, but you can begin to rub it in, and a little does go a long way as you rub it onto your hands. And if I were to just describe the consistency of this, the consistency of it, once it dries down on your hands, it's not greasy, it's waxy. It's almost like your hand is coated in wax, but it's not uncomfortable. So it's not like if you were to rub your hands with Vaseline, where it's very, very greasy and you can't really do anything or touch anything because you're getting it on, you know, for example, if my daughter had Vaseline all over her hands, which is what was happening when I first used Vaseline, you know, she would be getting it on her schoolwork and that kind of stuff. This, it's not like that at all. It dries down. It's very comfortable. Like, see, I have it on my hands. I can like snap. I can feel it's there. It's definitely there. It's definitely coating my hands, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not greasy. You can still do whatever you need to do, but you definitely feel that there's something there coating and protecting, but it's not at all uncomfortable. Okay, so I myself personally, I don't like greasy things on my hands. I think most people feel that way. This does not feel greasy in any way. So like I said, I will continue to have this in my household because not only did I see it work so well on my daughter's delicate 6-year-old skin, I also see how it's really helped with my own hands, considering I use my hands every single day. I'm cooking every day, I'm cleaning every day, my hands are in water every day, like whether I'm, cleaning dishes to put them in the dishwasher. I'm just always using my hands. I don't like to sit around. I don't sit around much. I'm up and I'm moving. I'm always seeing like what can be done. And so my hands were getting pretty dry too from the constant use. And then I'm washing my hands a lot throughout the day. I use hand sanitizer throughout the day, especially when I'm out going to the store and so on and so forth. And I've seen a big difference with my hands and how dry my hands are. I've also noticed too, it's starting to soften up my cuticles a little bit too, just a side note. So I find that a bit interesting. So if you're somebody who is suffering from dry, chapped, cracked hands, just from, from working, or because you yourself, due to COVID, because you're washing your hands more, you're using hand sanitizer, I really do really suggest this stuff. This stuff is great. And like I said, this will be a staple in my household now. So, like I said, I didn't, whenever I would see this in the store, I would just pass it by because you look at it and you think, oh, well, that packaging, it's not very pretty, in your mind. And I almost feel like they don't necessarily, they don't necessarily advertise towards women. You would almost think, it's more for men, like who work in construction or mechanics and that kind of thing. And I know that's my own assumptions and my own biases that I'm placing on here, but it definitely is obviously for everyone. So I definitely recommend this 100%. And yeah, and that's it. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you would consider subscribing. With that being said, I will see you in one of my next random recordings. Bye.